We'll talk a little bit about how the IMB is using AI. Um, and I really think we're doing some absolutely amazing things with AI at the IMB. Um, so, I'm going to drink my sweet tea, but I'm not going to eat a chicken sandwich while I talk to you. Yes, we did. We're going back to it. I'm just trying to figure out, because my eyes are not, I can't see 30 feet away. So I'm going to try to stop mirroring my computer. Okay, so my Christmas program question. So yeah, I'm a leader at church. We're planning a 2025 Christmas celebration. Here's what it says. Here are 10 fresh, Christ-centered ideas you can take straight into your planning meeting, so you can look prepared and spark a discussion with your team. A candlelight worship service, an Advent experience walkthrough, Christmas around the world, Living Nativity. No, not doing that. Children and Youth Christmas Musical. Community Christmas Dinner. Service-oriented celebration. Christmas worship service. Family Christmas night. Christmas Eve communion and prayer. Pro tip for your meeting, you could frame these in 3 categories to make it easier. Worship, community, drama, storytelling. If you'd like me to put this in a one-page handout with categories and short descriptions, it could do that for you. I mean, most of you have done this kind of stuff before, like using this. Yeah, it's like when this first came out, I was like, what? And like you could take, we are recording, so like confession time, like sometimes like I'll get an email from somebody, it'd be like, ooh, you're just writing that thing back, and you don't put their name up there because you're afraid you'll accidentally send it, and you're just writing that email, and you go, ooh, that's, if my wife was here, she'd put her hand on my knee and she'd squeeze. That means shut up, don't say anything, right? I don't have her there, so I'm like, I'm gonna drop this into an AI model, take out all the names, and hey, could you make this a little bit nicer? Or sometimes it's like, yeah, I don't want to be nicer. I want you to just get my point across. So like it's really good at like iterating, and you delete those emails, you don't send them, but it's really cathartic to help you work out your frustrations. I will say that like I was handed this during the break. It says on one of your first slides, intelligence is misspelled. So that just goes to show you AI did not create that slide, that I did, because AI would not have misspelled it. Or did I go back and change it to make you think that AI didn't write it? No, I wrote it. So I want to share with you a few tools, and FaithBot is what you have there on your table. One of the things you can get is conversations over a cuppa. So this is a website for engagement in the UK. And we've actually taken FaithBot and dropped it right on the website. And I don't know why it's not working. I think my internet is still wonky, but just trust me, it normally just opens up right there, and you have FaithBot opening. Yeah, so it's a little slow. So you can like put FaithBot on your church's website, and then people could ask it questions about your, about whatever they're asking. The other thing that we've done for a few churches, for universities, is created like a chat bot for their website where people can just ask it questions about their church. So like I was at a large church in Mississippi a few weeks ago and did a one-day intensive for their church leadership. And we just had them build all sorts of tools at the end of the day. And one of the tools we built was a chat bot that was trained on everything in their website that you couldn't find. And you say, hey, what time I'm a first-time visitor, what should I expect? And it tells you all this kind of stuff. So, what kind of clothes should I wear? Where should I go? Do you have activities for single men? Do you have activities for this? Do you have a grief group? And it knows everything, and the chatbot can just sit there and respond. I did one for a university that you could say, what time's cafeteria open today? What time's post office closed? What classes are offered this fall on this? It just knew all that. So instead of digging through all the website trying to find it, it would just serve that up to you really easily. So this would be kind of a fun thing to build out for your church website using an AI tool. I'm going to show you a couple of other. Here's a video I did. So the first time I did one of these, it's at our stateside conference. All these missionaries coming back. They're there for like 4 days of encouragement and learning and stuff. And I did one of these presentations, and the Mandarin speakers were like, "Man, your Mandarin's really good." I'm like, I don't really speak Mandarin. It's AI. Oh, you're so humble. No. Nobody's ever accused me of that, but no, I really don't speak Mandarin. No, it's perfect. I mean, I know you don't think it's good, but like that's the best. Like I've never seen an American speak Mandarin that good. I'm like, I get it, but like it wasn't me. So it's good. Like it's amazing how we can use AI to get the audio and the video, and I can take a presentation that someone did in one language and have it done in another language, and my lips are moving, like what it looked like on your screen, but like my lips were moving to Mandarin and Arabic and French and Spanish. I do actually speak Spanish, but I don't speak any of those other languages. And so it's amazing that technology has come about in the last 2 years for the languages. And this week, the same company that we do this with, they've introduced like more like your avatar doesn't just stand there. I mean, your avatar can move around and use his hands and talk. So the classes that I teach at William Carey, every one of my lectures is my avatar. It's kind of funny. Like the students, because it's an online class, so they never met me. And I was like, did you not get suspicious after the 5th week I was wearing the same black shirt? But it's my avatar, it's my voice, and I'm speaking and I'm teaching. And what I do is I insert my script of what I want it to say, and it just says it. And if I said something wrong, I can go back in and delete a word, change the word, re-export the video, boom, I'm saying something different. And it has really changed how I teach, because I have a full-time job that is way more than a full-time job and travel extensively, so it's impossible for me to actually now add to that teaching this online course at this university and this seminary, and so I'm having to do much more with less time. So in an afternoon on a Saturday, I can create 3 or 4 weeks worth of lectures, and in the past I would sit there in front of my computer and talk into my computer, and it was boring and it was horrible. Now I can build it out where things are on the screen, I'm down here in the corner, and it's just my avatar, and then I'm on the whole screen, so I can like change the background every 15 seconds, every 8 seconds, so it's very interactive. So imagine if you are trying to prepare curriculum. So let's say your church uses a certain, we're going to walk through the book of Acts in our small groups, but you've got a bunch of small group leaders that you're like, yeah, they're a small group leader, but they're maybe not the best small group leader, and I need to offer some prepared training for them. You could quickly prepare out some training for how to lead a small group, and you don't need a studio and a camera operator and a video editor and an audio mixer and all the stuff that you would normally need. You can just do that at home yourself on a Saturday afternoon, and you could iterate those very quickly. I mean, Marion can attest, like we would produce tons of content. I think last year, my login through this company created over 7,000 minutes of content for, it just blows my mind thinking about 7,000 minutes of content, of video content we've created. So, some other things, how we're using AI. I've mentioned a little bit about the work that Marion and Aaron and some other parts of our team are doing, but there's a lot of other ways, not just translation, iteration, brainstorming, dreaming about, I don't know if your church does like a vision statement or objectives and you're trying to reach objectives for next 5 years or so. If you're not, you probably should. That's a process, like writing goals. I have a lot of like 20 people on my team that I lead, and every year I have them do goals and we evaluate those goals. We want to make sure the goals are nested in what we're trying to accomplish, and inherently I think most people are poor at writing goals. They kind of stink at writing clear goals that are SMART goals, and so we created a tool that they can just say, this is what I want to try to do, and it helps them make those goals, SMART goal. And so those have nothing to do with like the missionary task, except that it helps facilitate us getting the missionary task. So those are some things that we've done. Another really cool thing is, have you ever heard of polyglossia? So polyglossia is absolutely phenomenal. They're a great group, couple of guys in Virginia, just outside of Virginia Tech, and there were sound guys at their church, and one of them is a electrical engineer, and another is a programmer. And they started having these Ukrainian refugees show up at their church. And much to your surprise, nobody there speaks Ukrainian. And they were like, I just don't know what to do. These people are not getting everything. Their English is not good. And so they built, using a Raspberry Pi, they built like a model that offers simultaneous translation. You just scan a QR code with your phone, and then as I'm speaking up here, you're seeing it on your phone in whatever language you choose. Or you see it on the screen. Like they put it up on the Pro Presenter, and the person can be up there speaking, and the subtitles are up on the screen in whatever the language you want. So I brought some. I don't work for them. I don't get anything except love helping these brothers out. There's some flyers back there for polyglossia. Very, very inexpensive, like $100 a month to use this model. It's about $150 for the equipment. They're losing money on the equipment because I've tried to build this. Plugs into your sound system and it just works. So if you've got people who are coming, or maybe you could get people to come to your church who speak another language that would benefit from this, I strongly suggest polyglossia. So we use it for every training event we do. So at FPO or full orientation, everybody that comes, they can scan a QR code at their table, and everything that the presenter is saying, they can see in that language. Our church uses it. We have about 7 different languages that come, and they all. And we're not a mega church, but we do have we have a large ESL outreach, and those people can listen in English, see the pastor, and on their phone or device be reading along in whatever language they choose. So, absolutely incredible technology. We've tried some audio simultaneous translation. The new AirPods are going to offer supposedly simultaneous translation, so you can just listen and it'll be telling you in your ear what they're saying. Our experience with that has not been great, so maybe that technology will get a lot better. So I have a website, and it's really easy to remember. It's donbarger.com. Long story, I was doing the a training for Chick-fil-A of all people, and I had all this stuff and I didn't have a place to share it. And years ago, I had blocked this domain to keep anybody from buying it and using my name. And so, I'll just stick it on there, and I never have taken it down. So one day I will get it off of here and actually have a proper website. But you can go to donbarger.com, and there are tons of resources that we've built. If you're on Substack, I usually write about once a week about AI and the church, and something to do with AI or innovation or something to do with the church. And so there's a Substack on that website. Lots of resources. So I would love it if you would use anything on there. They're absolutely free. Really quickly, here's another one of those videos. This was the video that the people were like, "Wow, you are so good."
欢迎您来到富吉尼亚州的历史南，我们正在做一些伟大的事情来接触莫名。我们正在使用人工智能，我们在进行数据参与。
Any of you speak Mandarin? I don't either. But apparently it's not too bad. So some people have asked for my email address. It's just dbarger, D-B-A-R-G-E-R, at imb.org. And I am traveling for the next few weeks, but I will respond eventually over the next week or two. So if you have questions or comments, or you want to follow up, concerns you don't want to raise here, feel free to shoot me an email, and we can set up a time to meet virtually and talk through those. I do have, for the next, till we finish, I'm about to dive into just one tool after another that we've built. I'm just going to demo them on the screen, and I'm going to invite you to also demo them as well. If you want to hand those out, yeah, that'd be great. So I'll let you ask if there's any questions before we move into the fun stuff of what we're going to build. Any final questions? Yeah. Oh, you said you were going to ask me that. That's a really, so where do you see us in 2027, 2028? I'll be quite honest, I can't even answer where I see you a year from now. Like, it is changing. So I don't want to be the guy. In 2018, I went to a meeting with Jim Cooley. We went to, I don't remember what it was now, but some meeting, a Rotary Club. And this guy came in, and he was some young futurist. He talked about, we'll have self-driving cars by 2025. And I was like, wow, that seems quite aggressive. And he was wrong. We don't have self-driving cars. Oh, and we do, but not like widespread. So I don't want to be that guy to kind of like, oh, AI is going to be everywhere. But I will say AI is going to be everywhere, and it's not going to be stuff that you see. It's not going to be the person. I don't know. One of my favorite things to do is go to Sam's Club and just watch that little thing that drives around with a skeleton on it. I mean, if I'm the only person, like, I just go, that's so cool. And I found out, I was talking to one of the workers. He said, yeah, he said that thing cleans the floors and it takes inventory at the same time. What a world. I mean, you clean the floor and take inventory. That's 4 people's jobs that it has taken. And that thing just rides around, that little skeleton, that's just sitting in there, and it'll just go around. And you're at a restaurant, and then your dirty dishes go on that little thing. That's slowly incorporating itself into our lives. My question, I don't know where we're going to be as a society. I think we're going to be surprised at where we are. But my question keeps being, how is the church going to keep responding? Like, how do we respond to this iterative change that is just happening every day so much that we don't really feel it? Are we going to bury our heads in the sand and, just say, no, this is all evil? Or are we going to say, how can we redeem this technology? And, how can we use it as a church, as an association, as a denomination, as a mission board? How can we use it to be more on task about telling people about Jesus? That's the question. And I know that the things that we are doing get very, very practical very quickly, but like, how much of that transitions over to the local church? I've I just have this dream of helping Sunday school or small group or connect group or whatever we call them now, those leaders actually have the resources that they can access much easier than sending people a book. You know, you're a leader, so I'm going to send you a commentary to read. Realizing that most of our people sitting in our pews do not read. They can read. I'm not going to say they can't read because most of our people can read. Most people don't enjoy reading. They don't get information. I read, but like if you can give it to me in a YouTube video, I like a YouTube video. And when are we going to transition the way that we train people, the way that we teach people to incorporate an easier way for them to understand and be better prepared to do the task? So, few things. FaithBot. So this is, you've all got a little card on your table. We created FaithBot about a year and a half ago was the first version of FaithBot. And I don't know that you can see this. I can't really make it bigger right now. But it is a tool that we use for digital engagement. And I was sitting in small group one Sunday morning, and the guy leading it said something, and I'm like, I don't want to be that guy. But I'm pretty sure that was heretical, and that's not biblical. But I don't want to be that guy. Like, they're already kind of intimidated with several of us in there that are ministers, and I'm like, I'm not going to say anything to him. I just wish I could. I don't want to open up Logos right here and look it up. But then I thought, ooh, I got the AI model. I'll ask FaithBot. And I dropped it into FaithBot, and I'm like, yep, he's wrong. So I didn't say anything. I didn't raise my hand. But after the session, I'm like, hey, I got this tool you might want to check out. And as you're preparing, you might want to just run your stuff through there, because when you said this, I hear what you're saying, but it wasn't exactly correct. He was like, oh, that's so awesome. And so he started, he uses all the time now. And then somebody at the IMB, this guy that works there in deployment, he asked, what's the coolest thing you're working on? I was like, you got to try this out. And I gave him FaithBot. He uses it all the time. And it started just spreading. Like, all of a sudden, I'm hearing from somebody in, some other state. My daughter was talking to a friend in Nashville not long ago, and she was like, they were planning this thing. She said, oh, you got to check this tool out, this thing called FaithBot. My daughter's like, what do you mean FaithBot? And she's like, oh, somebody in our church shared this with us. Chloe's like, my dad built that. So, it's just growing. And so we released it in April more widely, and we've had 130,000, 140,000 users since then. And I would love it. Like, you guys take it and let your people use it. It's totally free. You can ask it any question, but I just start some sample prompts like, help me evaluate a particular scripture, help me craft a Bible story, what does the Bible say about, and you just fill it in. Help me understand a theological question. I don't know, give me a humdinger here. Give me a good question. Anybody? All right. I was hoping you'd give me a huge theological controversial question, but I can take that. I am teaching on Acts 1 and would like to take this and gear it towards 5th graders. The other cool thing about AI is it's pretty forgiving about your spelling, so if you misspell stuff, it'll fix it. So it's okay, here's a clear, age-appropriate narrative of Acts 1 designed for 5th graders. Has the Bible story. I told you I'm a huge proponent of narrative and Bible stories, so that's going to be reflected in this. Particularly if you are dealing with a 5th grader, it's going to do that. And do you want me to explain the story? Do you want me to identify things in the story that are difficult for non-Christians to understand? Yes. What would be hard for 5th graders to understand? Great question. The Holy Spirit, Jesus going to heaven, the disciples had to wait, choosing a new apostle, Jesus' return. There's a lot. And so explain how I could explain to them Jesus going up to heaven. And there you go. It'll help you. This wasn't like a magic trick or a superhero find. Jesus was showing his friends. Let's go back to heaven. Object lesson idea. There you go. You could use a helium balloon. I probably would not do that. Or you can inhale it and then tell the Bible story like that. That would be a good idea. Explain, just like we can't see the balloon anymore, the disciples couldn't see Jesus after he went up into the clouds. But we know he's still there, just like we know the balloon is still somewhere over the sky until it pops and goes down. No, didn't say that. So, I mean, you just keep asking it questions, and so give me, Okay, what game could we play to help them learn this? Cloud Catch. I'm going to market this one, and you'll see it at Lifeway. Oh, no, never mind. I don't think there is Lifeway. Is there Lifeway anymore? If they had used this, they would still have physical stores. Not really. Not really. Too soon. All right. So it just gives you how to play the game. So, I mean, and you can ask it like deep theological questions, like, can a homosexual be a pastor? This will be fun. According to the teaching of evangelical Christians, the Bible sets clear qualifications for church leaders. And this is the other thing about FaithBot that we built into this intentionally, is that everything it gives you when you ask questions like this is scripture. Like, it is not going to say, well, this popular author says. No, it's always, these are the scriptures that you need to go to, and this is where it's going to pull from. I'm not going to get in. I don't want to get into the controversial stuff. I will tell you that when we built this, like, there's things in the Bible that are non-negotiable, like, and these are non-negotiable. There are other things that are like tertiary issues that maybe cultural, maybe preference, may not be exactly clear. So this has been trained to be firm on the non-negotiables, and on the tertiary issues, present sides, and then say this is what most Baptists or evangelicals would believe about this topic. But it's not going to be, and if you're wanting to go in here and say, well, I want everybody to know that Calvinism is this, or Calvinism is that, it should not do that. If it does, I need to go back and fix it, because those are not things that are like those aren't things that are as important as, can a homosexual be a pastor? So that should be pretty cut and dry. If it ever comes back and says yes, let me know, and I will discipline the AI tool. Yes. Creation is alive. You mean to ask that? Ooh, I thought you were asking me. I whew. That's a different session. Here is a question for you. Creation is alive, but does creation have a conscience? Oh, we're telling it creation is alive. So, no, I mean, we could check it. So, that's a thoughtful question. According to the Bible, creation is indeed alive in the sense that God made all living things. Genesis 1. However, the Bible teaches only humans were created in the image of God and given a unique consciousness, self-awareness, and the ability to have a personal relationship with God. Genesis 1, 26, 27. While creation, like animals, plants, and other can groan and be affected by sin, Romans 8, 19 to 22, the Bible does not teach that creation as a whole has consciousness in the way that humans do. Consciousness is the way the Bible describes it, involves self-awareness and moral understanding and the capacity to know, worship God. This is something God gave specifically to people. So, on and on and on. So, it's a pretty cool answer. That's a cool question. But I love just sitting here asking questions to FaithBot. I'm like, oh, pretty cool. Well, you know what? You can give those preachers this FaithBot card and say, hey, you might want to check this out. Yeah. All right. Yes. So you wouldn't email it. You could say like, you could just right here and copy it and paste it. Um, you can you can look at your chat history and share all that. I haven't. There's been some intentional design of anonymity that we want to keep, and so we've not like I don't ever. There's not in this the ask for that type of information, but you can always just copy it right here and copy and paste it. Or you can highlight certain parts of it or different things. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It does give you tons of info. Yeah. Good question. So, remember how I said AI is iterative and how we design stuff is iterative? So a year ago, when I first built the first one of these, it was trained with a system prompt. So a system prompt is just, if you think, it uses a foundational model, which does change. I think right now it's using, I don't want to say, I don't remember which one we got it connected to right now, but we've got like 10 or so to choose from. If one of them goes offline, it just goes to the next one. But, so that's just this enormous amount of data that is not Christian. And then I previously used something called RAG, which is a way to add knowledge, specific knowledge to it, to say, so it's retrieval augmented generation. So it's going and saying, hey, if somebody asks a question and it's covered in one of these 40 documents, always use this information first. That was slow, and it wasn't necessarily the best. We weren't always getting the best responses, particularly in other languages. So when system prompt, the ability to write large system prompts got more and more frequent, I actually moved away from using RAG. So it only has one document added to it. And that document is our foundations document, is what we believe about missions as the IMB. It's an awesome document. I wish I'd have brought you those. If you've not seen foundations, you should get a copy, and I can help you do that. Everything else that I created is in a system prompt. And so I just instructed, you are an evangelical Christian chatbot that always responds in a Baptist worldview. You are conservative, all this who you are. So we build prompts. I've created this thing, wasn't original to me, but I kind of have my own version called Ripen. So it's role, input, parameters, examples, and notes. And I'm going to give you that in a minute. And so we can go in and build out this chatbot by answering those questions. So like in the examples, I can say, here are 20 people that would answer the questions sort of like how we would do. So we could call it the heroes, if you will. You know, if you had people you constantly read, here are the 20 authors. Yeah, so you could say whatever you wanted like that. And it will now, it doesn't go quote those people, but that worldview gets infused into this. And I tried to give a variety. So like, it is not going to be just one way of looking at things. I look at, okay, here are people who I look across, and most Southern Baptists would look at these people and say, these are really well-known theologians. They're not all in agreement on everything, but you know, they are in agreement on the main things. So that's kind of how I built that. Great question, though. All right, so let me show you some other tools, some kind of fun tools. Somebody else have a question? No? Okay. Marion handed out a little card that has a QR code on it. So if you want to, you can do that right now. You just scan that with your phone. And what it's going to bring up is, I don't know why. I've got to sign back in, sorry. So here's some applications that I've built for churches, and you have free access to these as much as you want. There's no charge, and the only thing you have to do is you have to register. When you click on that QR code, it's going to take you to a place, and you just put a name and a password in, that adds you to this workspace. And when you get into the workspace, you can see all these apps. So AI is kind of expensive to use. AI, to build some of the things we build with AI, costs a lot of money. There was one guy that I was working with in France a few weeks ago, and he's building out something like Ship, or like FaithBot, and he is currently paying over $2,000 a week to OpenAI for the usage of their models. So it's quite expensive to run these models and quite expensive to do some of the things that we're doing. But I'm able to build these and say, hey, we don't even try to charge to get this money back, because some of the partners that we've been able to make in AI. So one of them is Chip, and the company is Chip AI, and they have allowed me to build these tools and let you use them as much as you want, and they're absorbing all those costs. I'll be honest, the reason why they do that is I think their product is so good that they're going to say, if people use this, they're probably going to come to us and talk to us, and maybe they will sign up for one of their plans. But you don't have to sign up at all. So the only caveat that they asked was, hey, if you have people using this, we'd like to kind of track where it's being used and such. So if you sign up, just know that they may one day send you an email saying, hey, what do you think? Are you doing this? Is there anything we can help you with? So you don't have to do anything, and you can always use this, and you can ask them not to write you back, but that's it. So that's the end of that disclaimer for Chip. Most of what I'm doing, you could build yourself using OpenAI or ChatGPT or Claude. It would not be easy to do, but if you knew what you were doing, you could build it yourself. But what we've tried to do would build it out in such a way that just anybody could use it. And I'm seeing that one of my favorite things is actually not on here, and so I'm going to add it. It's called BiblePicks.faithbot. It'll be on the thing soon. So our Acts 1 passage, and you're teaching fifth graders. Well, I'd like an image for that. So BiblePicks will create images of any scripture that you want, and it's awesome. So you click here and say, create an image for a Bible passage. Which one do you want? I would like Acts 1. And so it's going to come up, and it's probably going to say, great, which one of these? So we're going to want the Ascension, Jesus Rising. That's almost like a Marvel movie or something. And then you can pick, this is the coolest thing, that you can pick what style you want. Do you want it to be a coloring book page? Do you want it to be photorealistic, a line drawing, charcoal, pastel, graffiti, superhero, Pixar movie, manga? That's one of my favorites, is doing like a manga one. And let's just say coloring book for now. And what it's going to do is going to create a coloring book image that you can use. And so question always, what about copyright? There is no copyright on this. This is open source. You can use it, whatever you want. And so you can create a whole book of these things. So there's Jesus Rising. Again, so like there is some iterations here, because this has got a little Catholic halo type thing happening around Jesus. So I probably wouldn't just use this as it is, but you could say, yeah, I am not a fan of the halo. And let's see what I'll do. Redo it. And then I wanted to hit it as superhero. It does take a little bit to create them, and once again, it put Jesus with a halo. So you have to keep at it. Remember what I said? Sometimes it's just stubborn. You have to do that. And so now it's going to create, and it does ask questions like, do you want glowing effects or pow and bang and that kind of stuff. I just said do it, and so you'll get an image. Ooh. Woo! Yeah, I did say superhero style. You got a little Avenger action going back here in the background. So I'm glad you're laughing. Like some people, oh, that's so offensive. No, I mean, this is just, I'm just playing around with this, trying to get it to give me something that's useful. Rarely do I get the first time I try it, do I go, oh, wow, that's the perfect response. But it is kind of fun to see what it does. And then if you don't like something, you say, hey, don't add the superhero guys. And it does say, remember, image creation is iterative process. We can refine it until it's right for you. I had to put that in because once somebody was using it, he was all opposed to AI. And unfortunately, he's the one that the first thing he did, it was like lizard people in the movie. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So I had to put that. So this is like manga. So if you've ever seen like Japanese art, and then I can't remember who this guy is, but I really liked his art style, so I made it. You can say, make it in the style of people from Alabama. I mean, look at that. Isn't that beautiful? I mean, you could almost like, they didn't even signed it. Like, I don't know who this is, but like, I mean, it's pretty cool. And it's totally AI generated. Like, this isn't pulling an image from somewhere. It's creating this. Let's see what it says about Alabama. I didn't say Hueytown because it'd be a golden gopher. We don't need a golden gopher in Acts 1. Yeah, on a 4x4, you know. Yeah. Yeah, totally. So anyway, this is one tool, just one of the many tools that you're going to have access to. And I just want to see this Alabama version. Oh, there you go. There you go. I'm pretty sure G's going upstairs. Roll Tide. So it's just like, would you rather your kids spend like hours watching YouTube videos or playing around with Bible pics? Because this is kind of addictive. It could become your next cat video addiction. So I do want to show you like. Whoa, somebody just added a new application since I've been here. Maybe I did. So I had a friend who was doing his PhD, and he was like, man, I'm just struggling. I can't get anything out of ChatGPT. It's giving me all this junk. I'm like, well, you know, back in the day when I did it, we didn't have ChatGPT. I had to say that. But I built him a tool that was pretty cool. So it'll do academic research for you. And it's not just for like a PhD, but it's a pretty awesome tool that you can do to research. And then the other thing that I always hated, he didn't ask for this, but I built it for him. Like, I would have this huge book, and I'm like, I don't even know if this is going to contribute, but I really got to go read it, and I got to figure out whether or not it's any good. And I like halfway through it, it's like, well, that's a horrible book, and I'd throw it aside. So I built this tool that would kind of give you research summaries of books, and so it would kind of go out and read all this stuff, and it would come back and summarize it. It's kind of an executive summary, so that might be helpful. Pastor's Helper, I think this is the one that, like, if you ever had to write a job description for a youth pastor, you're like, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to do that. So this will actually draft out a job description for you, or for a janitor, or for a pianist, or whatever you're needing. And it'll do the things that you constantly have to do that are spending a lot of time. It'll just kind of help you do those type of things. I think that was Pastor's Helper. Bible engagement, how do I get people to read the Bible more? And so it'll just kind of help you work through that. So I do a lot of training, and so we use this model called the 6 Ds of breakthrough learning, 6 disciplines of breakthrough learning. And so I'm creating a course on AI. How would I do that? And how do I define my outcomes and all these things? So this is a tool that I built to help me, hey, I want to build a course on this topic. And it doesn't go build the course, it asks you questions. And you're answering it, and then just back and forth, until it says, okay, what do you think about this? You go, well, no, I don't really like that. And it just is kind of like if you had a curriculum design coach sitting in front of you, it would help you. So I use that all the time. This is the Admin Pro. This may have been the one that would help you, but I'll pull that one up as well. This is one of the best ones. Want to research a people group overseas, it'll help you do that. If you're into like writing good goals and objectives and key indicators, this is a really good one. YouVersion, if you use YouVersion, like imagine if you're preaching a series, you thought, well, I'd really like to have a YouVersion series that goes along with what I'm preaching on Sundays. Going through the book of John, the next 3 months, I'd like to have a 3-month reading plan. And it knows when I'm preaching, and you could add all your sermon material in, and it would just create a YouVersion reading plan that then you upload to YouVersion, and you create your own YouVersion out of that. FaithBot, which you played around with, Smart Goals. I use Smart Goals all the time for our team. And the other thing you can do is when somebody sends you goals and they stink, you can take their stinky goals in it, put it in there and say, could you make these SMART goals? And you'd send it back and say, if you had used the tool, this is what it would have showed you. And you can also make it say it nicer than that too. Sermon research. So you don't pay $9.95 for it to go write your sermon, but if you're wanting to do research for a sermon, so this is one that I've been building. I would say a disclaimer on several of these is I'm not 100% happy with a lot of some of these things, but they're still useful to other people, or maybe they are, or maybe they're not. But if you use one and you want to give me feedback, I welcome that, and I can go in there and fix some stuff. This is specifically built to not build your sermon for you. It's not going to create a sermon, hopefully. If you use it right, you're asking it, hey, I'm thinking about doing a series on the book of John, and here are the things that I'm hoping to get from that. Do you have an outline? And to me, there's no difference from this and going to my Bible software and looking at one of 50 other books that have outlined the Bible. And then the only difference is now I get to iterate their outline. So I can go back and say, well, I like that, but yeah, for our context, I really don't want to do this. I really want it in 6 weeks, not 8 weeks. And so it's just a helper. But just don't use it to try to write your sermons. I should build in something that would be a telltale sign if you did that. It would just be, you're reading and say, I am plagiarizing. Oh, whoa. So, Christian persecution. So this is one that I built. Somebody was asking, I wonder what persecutions happen around the world today. I don't know why, but I built it. And so now you can go in there and ask it questions, and it'll say, okay, today, this is where persecution's happening. This is where it happened. This is where it is. This is where you can go read more about it. And then finally, I built a coffee coach, because in my opinion, most people really should make better life choices and drink much better coffee than they do. So this will coach you through what type of coffee machine to buy, or the pour over, or how do you do a pour over, how do you do an AeroPress. It'll teach you. It's a coach, so it'll teach you how to do that. So since churches are notoriously for having bad coffee, I figured I'd just throw that one in for you. All right, so let's look at a few of these. So this is the academic research one. And it's going to be slow. So help me do research on a topic, help me find books about my topic, help me find videos on a topic, and journal articles. So those are, that'd be really helpful. Here's another one, another academic one. I'd like to get to, all right, the church admin. It has job descriptions, bylaws, and policies. I'm not a lawyer, so don't take my bylaws and say, well, AI said. I would say they do better than ChatGPT would do. Write a job description, and then committees and teams, helping you write good descriptions for a committee. This is why you exist. Not to tell the pastor what to do, but to do this. So I knew I'd get some pastors like that. So this one is one that you can just, take and use. This one I want to spend a little bit of time on. So you may think, well, this is great, Don, but I need this. I have another tool. I need another thing solved. And we're going to show you how to build that out with the Ripen prompt. Engage Lostness. This is another one that is just, this is being used by Samford University right now, and several of our seminaries. We use it with all of our new missionaries. If you can use this, and it'll take on the persona of another worldview, culture, religion. And so you could say, hey, I'm going to Memphis, Tennessee, and I'm going to be doing a mission trip to Afghan refugees living in Memphis, Tennessee. And I think Brook Hills actually did this, used this chatbot for their team that went to Memphis. I don't know why. So what you do is it'll practice that gospel share, and it'll say, tell me more about worldview of Afghans living in Memphis, and it'll give you what they believe. And then once it gives you that, I don't know why it's not pulling up. Once it gives you that, it will also, you can practice sharing your faith with it. You can practice a conversation. And as you are sharing, it'll give you pointers to say, hey, I know you think that was helpful, but when you said that, that actually shut them down. Here's how you could have flipped that conversation into a better gospel conversation. So it assumes the persona of whoever it is you're trying to share with, which is pretty awesome. So this is the Christian persecution. Coffee coach, we'll play with that one a little bit too. So engage lostness. You choose your worldview you want to work with. So right now we've got like 20. We need to update this, but these are the ones that are in here right now. So like if you engage generations, so we'll just choose 9 for different generations. And so let's say I'm going to engage with Gen Z for 1997 to 2012 roughly. And so what it's doing right now is it's building out this persona. And so you can understand Gen Z's view on God, church, and spirituality, practice sharing your faith, or break down misconception. So let's understand their worldview on the church. And it gives you, would you like to see sample questions Gen Z may ask about faith? Here's some questions you might expect. And then you can say, well, how should I respond to number 2? And it'll tell you how to respond. You can also say, practice sharing my faith. And so it's going to pull up, it's going to create the person. It's creating a focus group right now, or basically a AI version of a Gen Z. And this says, a Gen Z friend says, I'm not really into organized religion, but I'm open to spirituality. Why do you follow Jesus? Anyone? I follow Jesus because if you don't, you are going to hell and will burn forever. Yeah, there's a little chick track, turn and burn tracks. So thank you for sharing your response with honesty. It is important to be clear, but with Gen Z, the way we communicate matters just as much as what we say. Probably respond better to conversations that are relational, compassionate, or focused. Here's some gentle feedback. Instead of focusing first on the consequences like hell, consider sharing what draws you to Jesus personally, his love, his grace, his hope he offers. For example, you might would have said, I follow Jesus because I've experienced his love and forgiveness in a real way. He gives my life meaning and hope, even when things are hard. For me, it's just not just about religion or rules, it's about relationship with God who cares about me personally. And then it says why. So I think it's, you can just choose your different religions and practice sharing. And I find it's very helpful when we're dealing with people who are going overseas who have never dealt with a real animist. That's the first one I built, was engaging animism. I was teaching in a worldview class on animism, and I can just tell around the I got this. This is no problem. And so okay. So during the break, I made out this chat bot for them to engage with animists, and they were like, "Oh, this is a lot harder than I thought." So it gives you a way to practice sharing your faith and kind of get over that uneasiness of, well, how are they going to respond? And you may kind of predict how they may respond, and you have a response to how they're going to respond. So it's kind of a tool. Just disclaimer, we don't count these in our report to the convention of people we've shared the faith with. Like, those don't count. This is just practice. It doesn't count in our statistics. So I do want to show you this one here. This is probably the most important one that you could do. What would you like to have an AI tool do for you? Anybody? Okay. So, I would like to have the chatbot teach me more about AI. Specifically, I work in a local church and am a Christian. I would love to use AI in our ministry. The other thing you can do is you can talk to this AI. So if you're on your phone, you can just push the little button and talk instead of type, and it works. But so what it's going to do, would you like your prompt to be a system prompt so that the chat can, yes, we would. System prompt. So we're actually going to create an AI tool with you all watching. System prompt will help you do that. So the role, remember I told you there were 5 things. Role, what personality should it be? Should it be a friendly coach, tech-savvy ministry partner, or gentle teacher? I would like a tech... let's do that. Savvy ministry partner that is excellent in coaching me. Should it reference scripture or Christian values? It should maintain Christian values and, if appropriate, use scripture, but don't force it. I am really wanting to learn practically how to use it. I want it conversational. Don't just dump a bunch of words on a page. It'll clean that up. So then it gives me my role, and it says much nicer than what I said. That looks good. Input. So will the users ask general questions about AI or refer? You decide. I want it to coach me on practical uses. Looks good. So we're using AI to build AI, basically. I'm just gonna let it give generic answers. Looks good. Looks good, even though it hasn't done it yet. So what it's doing now is it's showing what a conversation could be, and then you could build that out, and then notes. Here's some notes that it's going to give you. So that's the ripen prompt. Looks good. And so now it's going to give you markdown language, which is what AI likes. If you know about markdown language, you're probably in the minority in here. And then we're going to go create a chatbot. I'm going to create a new one. And we're going to call this Learn About AI. I am here to teach you about AI. And this is the prompt where you're going to take that markdown language that it gave you. You're going to copy it, and go back over here, and you're going to prompt it there. We're done. Let's go. Oops. If you had knowledge source, like if you had like a website or something you wanted to add, you could go over here and say, add this web page, this YouTube channel, this Google Drive. You can add podcast, and it would learn. It would be kind of like creating that RAG, that knowledge base for it, in addition to the system prompt. Are you interested in outreach? Let's say communication. And I'm in this trial thing, and it's going to keep giving me that error. So, do you mostly write email, text message, or social media? Let's do social media. I've also got a tool that's built for creating ad campaigns based on sermons. So like one of the things I did for the church that I worked with in Mississippi was a pastor preaches on Sunday, and then during the week, their small groups all meet, and so it created study notes or the lesson plans for age-appropriate lessons for each of the groups to meet during the week, and they could take what he preached on Sunday, and then they have small group leaders already has their lesson plan created for them, and then it could also create like social media posts. So I uploaded, this is pretty cool, uploaded the YouTube link to his sermon, and I had it watch his sermon. And then it said, okay, here are 4 clips from that video you could use in social media posts. And it gave you where to click it, where to start it, and where to end it. Like here's a 12-second clip, a 3-second, 8-second clip, a 15-second clip. It was pretty awesome. I'll try to add that into here as well. So Yeah, so you can use it for content creation. We're going to do that. And I'm going to keep getting this error because I'm not fixed something. And so it's asking, so it just keeps going through and asks you a bunch of questions, and it'll teach you how to do it. So, all right, we're about out of time. Any questions, comments, things that concern you? So I do an evening class for all missionaries that are going overseas now. It is optional for them, but I think this is going to become more and more. It's interesting. I first did that about 18 months ago, and I asked how many people in the room had used AI, and nobody raised their hand. And now everybody in the room, everybody sitting in there is using it all the time. So it's pretty amazing, pretty powerful. So like the models we use with Chip, one of the things I really like about Chip is that you're not using the free version and you're not using the $20 a month version. You're using what they call an enterprise plan, or what actually the AI models call an enterprise plan. And so you have the same. It'd be like if you're using Microsoft Copilot in the Microsoft environment. So most of you probably get free Microsoft Office with your church. They have something called Microsoft Copilot. You have to pay for it to really do anything good, and even then, I sometimes wonder how good it is. But it's about $40 a month per user, and that ties it into your Microsoft tenant. If you're using like your Chip, for example, that is the same level of authentication as if you're using like an enterprise license. So it's a lot more secure. I mean, if you're putting like people's names in there, like, hey, I have a counseling session with this couple that is probably going to get a divorce, I probably wouldn't put that level of detail in there. There are ways to build those out very safely, but this would not be that. There are like really cool, like taking your church calendar, like your public church calendar, it's already on the website, and then having that being ingested in, and people could chat with that church. Like with your whole website, you could also ask like questions like, okay, well, when is the fall festival, and what are we doing at the fall festival, and it'll give you all the information because it's pulling from that calendar. Any other questions? Yeah. 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 So Suno, AI Tubo, probably the one I use the most is 11 Labs. Awesome. I mean, just really awesome. Those are usually not all you can consume type of tools. Like you're going to pay for the consumption of those tools. So it's usually like a certain amount a month. And then if you use it over, say, 10 minutes, they start charging you per minute. No, I mean, I think the concern that I have with those is the concern every creative type person has is, well, those are really fun. I use them all the time. But like, I don't want Christian artists to stop writing songs because I can whip one out, in the break. I spoke at the AI, at the worship leaders conference for the state of Virginia for the last couple of years. And like the very first year, somebody asked, oh, are you concerned about this? And so during the break, I wrote a song. It was really good. And I think everybody in there was like, this is concerning, because that's what they do. And I was like, yeah, but it's a pretty good song. And I'm not a songwriter, nor a singer. So, yeah. I mean, I love to do it, though. I think it's a lot of fun to build those around. Like most everything, it usually gets you like 90%. And then it's like, you kind of stink at this. So that it used to be that it gets you to 60%. Now it's getting you to like 90%. I think where we're approaching is 95%. And then before long, you're not going to be able to tell whether or not this was AI generated or not. Anybody else? Any other questions?